helping Iraq.
Diane has been reporting from the region this week, and we are very happy to have her join us today. On this show, we open the floor to you. And the first question, Diane, comes from Bob from Colorado Springs, who writes, "Your piece on Syria was brilliant. The interview with Bashar al-Assad was top-notch," he said. But his question, did he ask you any questions? And if so, what were they and what were your answers?
He did ask me questions, quite a few questions about American politics, a little bit about American culture, but I have to tell you, he is so informed. I mean, he was talking about Barack Obama's poll numbers. He was following the relative races, so he is following with extreme care what's happening in the United States. But he wanted to know some of the interactions between the media and the candidates and how things worked. He did.
Wow. Well, so he's definitely an educated man. All right, let's hear from a guy named Rad. He writes from New Hampshire. He emailed us this question. Did you feel in Damascus that Syrian people are terrorist or tolerant, Rad writes? Did you feel coexistence between different sects or radicalism?
Well, you know, on a religious level here in Syria, it is a phenomenon of this country to have this much religious interaction and tolerance. You have the same areas, a mosque, a shrine, a temple, and in all of it, all faiths are praying. So it's a remarkable feature of Syria and has been for hundreds of years. At the same time, as you know, this is a complicated region, and what defines a terrorist here is different from what defines a terrorist in other parts of the world. And in some ways, it is a balancing act to live this closely to Iran on the one side, to the Saudis, sometimes on a completely different part of the spectrum, to the United States on a different part of the spectrum. But in personal terms, when you wander the streets, when you talk to people, there is extreme friendliness. There is only excitement at getting to see you and talk to you.
All right, all the way from Honolulu, Hawaii, Heather sent this question to you, Diane. Do young adults in Syria want to come to America to see what it's like? She says she's always wanted to go to Syria.
Yes, I think they do. And not only that, they can see a lot of American television here. A number of people have talked about ER, Friends. They're watching American television here. So you wander the street and you do get people saying, "Do you know George Clooney? What is George Clooney like?" This is a very secular culture in that way.
Did they know who you were, Diane? Had they heard of you?
Some of them had, because there is a satellite channel that carries Good Morning America
wow.
here. So yes, indeed, in a small way.
Okay, now let's hear from Sean from North Carolina. He wanted to know, what is the general opinion of the average American in Syria? What do they think of us?
You know, I think that they really do make a firm distinction between American government policies and the American people, and there is a connection to the American people. And there is a sense that America is full of vitality, and the kind of vitality that in this secular culture would be so welcome. And if relations could begin in such a way that they could fuel each other, it would be to the benefit of everyone. And we have a conversation coming up, which I hope you'll post some of here as well, in which we talk with a group of Syrian women about everything, about dating, about sex and the city being Damascus in this case, and also about the common aspirations of people all over the world.
Well, that leads very well into the next question here from Sabrina from St. Louis, Missouri. She sent in this. She asked, why is it that women have to cover their hair in the temple and men are not required to? Basically, what is offensive about women's hair, Sabrina asks.
Well, in this part of the world, female hair is considered very seductive, and you cover your hair as a sign of chastity, that you are not trying to interest a man, particularly in the mosque, and certainly not any man who is not your husband. And we had a group of the teenagers, of the young people, they were in their 20s actually, talking to us before, and they said it's a double standard. It's double standard. We know that here. But that there are other things about our traditions and our family and our religion that are so reinforcing that we accept that.
Very interesting. All right, our final question for you, Diane. Maria from Santa Fe, New Mexico, who writes, is it safe for Americans to travel in Damascus? And also she asks, will you show more of your trip on ABC's Prime Time? She says that would be great.
Well, thank her for that. I'll talk to the producers when I get back about prime time. But we have to respect the fact that in this region, generally, there is so much more volatility. And not long ago, there was a foiled terrorist attempt, a plan at least, on the American embassy here. The Syrian government helped foil it. So there is certainly some increased concern about this part of the world. But did I feel in any way insecure or unsafe? No. Did the team here? Absolutely not. And we did see American tourists here and tourists from all over Europe here. So I would just encourage everyone to keep a sense of proportion.
Well, Diane, I hear Damascus is a beautiful place. I certainly hope you have some time to see the sights. And thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to join us here on our show. Diane Sawyer in Damascus, Syria. Thank you so much.
Bye.